What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripe Show, brought to you today by Game Time, my personal favorite way to find and buy baseball tickets. The Game Time app gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. Of course, they have baseball games, but also pro and college football season is underway, and you can find great tickets for concerts and comedy shows as well. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code BRONX for $20 off your first purchase. I'll tell you more about Game Time in just a little bit. What's up, Scott? How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. There's some things that have been transpiring that are making me feel like, maybe there's some hope here. Maybe we can jump back in. I know there's the criteria of what you had said for what this road trip needs to be or this trip of the gauntlet of actual good teams. And so far, they're answering the bell. So far, they're answering the bell halfway through.
Oh yeah. I mean, they won both series. Obviously, that's great news. The stats that were thrown around after they won the Houston series, when you put it into perspective, are crazy. It was their first series win against a plus 500 team since July 8 to 10 versus Seattle at home. So that's in 2 months. They hadn't beaten a team in 2 months that was above 500, and their first road series win against a greater than 500 team since June 10 to 12th at Kansas City. So 3 months. It had been 2 or 3 months since we saw that. That's half the season.
It's a really long time to not get a quality win on the road against an opponent like that. And go back to the Royals, and it's like,
does it count? I don't know.
We've looked at what the AL Central has been over the past few years, but yeah, I mean, look, this is what we were looking for. We were looking for some life against good teams, and obviously, when you go to Houston, it's always a tough place to play. If they were to see them at some point in the playoffs, like these games are important to them because it also, made the season series in the Yankees' favor as well, which you can't overlook that piece. But yeah, they played well. They actually played well. The pitching did what it needed to do. There was some fun in between, but Max Fried came out as the guy that we needed him to be in both series and pitched back-to-back 7 innings. He did exactly what he needed to do. And for this team to be in a place to actually look forward to what the playoffs can look like, they need Max Fried at the end of the day. If nothing else, they need Max Fried to be that anchor at the top of each series here. And obviously they need more than that, but he's a necessity.
Oh, for sure. And it had been a while since he really pitched well against a good offense. So I think it was last week we had it was obviously last week because it was before the quote unquote gauntlet. Someone said, would 6-6, they're going to go, or someone said along the lines that they're going to go 6-6 and like just sort of keep the ball moving, like nothing to see here. And I was like, well, it kind of depends on how it looks, right? Because if it's a representative 6-6 and they're playing better baseball, if good things, positive things are happening, then you can at least take some positive takeaways out of this hard stretch and then move forward, hopefully win your games against the bad teams at the end of the year and go into the playoffs. They're better than 500 so far, which is obviously great. But yes, one of the big things was Max Fried, and I lump Carlos Rodon in there too, because he also pitched a good game in the last game in Houston.
Pitch count was was getting high, and he actually ended up going through. He did 6 innings, right? And
6 innings.
But that's what you need from him. You need 6 to 7, but obviously you
bare
have to
minimum.
Six is bare minimum.
Yeah. If you don't get great starts out of both of those guys, you are not going anywhere in the playoffs, because this bullpen still scares me. You've got 2, maybe 3 guys you can even kind of trust in that bullpen. And Weaver struggled this past week, especially in his 2 outings in Houston. I still trust Weaver largely. Bednar obviously has sort of moved into that closer role. Y. Williams
it's no picnic when he's in there closing the game either. I mean, this is let's get some guys on and make us as nervous as all hell. It's not like we're going in there. They've talked about this multiple times. And I just have a side note that I think is funny. When you see a guy pitch for like, I don't know, the 10th time, 11th time, 12th time in a season starting, and then you start to hear the commentators, like they just regurgitate the exact same thing. I'm very curious how many times they've said the same stat over and over again for a reliever. Because they were talking about Bednar and like the fact that he's got a starter's repertoire. I think I've heard that 4 times from Michael K. And I'm curious to see how many like recycled lines they have without us realizing it, because there's so much stuff that sounds the same.
I don't think it's necessary to have a starter's repertoire as a reliever. You need 2 good pitches. Or if you're
Yeah,
Mariano
but
Rivera,
he's
you
got
need
a
1 good
starter's
pitch.
repertoire. They're going to tell you about it. He does. I mean, he's got the ability to throw more than 2 pitches.
So why isn't he a starter?
Well, I think that's you can only throw a starter's repertoire for a couple innings or 1 inning. It's different.
Oh, we
But
saw
you're
it with
right.
Garrett Crochet. He moved.
What it does is it allows more balls to be placed in play. That's kind of what it seems. Having more pitches towards the end of the game is that's it. You're not as confident with that slider or whatever that hard breaking ball is, and then the fastball, which is normally what you see out of a reliever. And then you have a guy like Bednar who does throw a lot more pitches, but there's a lot more base runners, a lot more traffic. There's a lot more things happening, a lot more room for error with him as well.
Yeah, the bullpen is still a bit scary, which is why I say it. You need, at a bare minimum, 7 innings out of Max Fried and 6 innings out of Carlos Rodon. Because if you're looking at a short playoff series, we'll talk about the standings in a second. It looks like they're going to be playing that 3-game wildcard series against Boston. Whether it's home or road, there's still a lot to be figured out there. But they're going to be playing a 3-game wildcard series. You that's back-to-back-to-back days. You can't rely on your bullpen in 3 straight games. You're going to have to get deep starts out of, at a minimum, Fried. And then if you ever make it to the next round, then you need deep starts out of both of those guys. The rest of the rotation, it's, I think, going to be a bit who's hot, who's not, like kind of rolling the dice a little bit. But you're paying all this money to Fried and Rodon. You need them to pitch like number 1 pitchers in the playoffs, or else you're not going deep.
No, and obviously Schlittler had his I guess that's one of the blips on the radar. You're looking at this kid because he's been nothing but good. Honestly,
Yeah.
They were talking about it in the game. You see his body language. He did look like he was. I don't even know if it was tired or just
40 pitches
frustrated.
in the first inning. I mean,
yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot, and he was wearing it. Like you could see that he was that he was struggling,
extremely physically exhausting to throw 40 pitches in an inning.
When I see a young kid coming up and making all of these positive steps that he has, and then there's an outing like this. To me, it's very easily to throw it away and see what happens next time, just because the tape isn't very long.
Well, this was Toronto facing him for a second time.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And that's an issue. And obviously, he needs to be up there. He got into trouble with 2 outs in that first inning as well.
He almost got out of the first inning. I think it was Vlad Jr. had a good at bat against him, poked a single, and then it was just a snowball downhill after that.
Right. But there are obviously signs with him. So again, yes, I know it's versus Toronto second time. Maybe there's something there as well, but I need to see him again. He's been too good for us to just say like this kid can't do it against somebody else, somebody big.
And I'm not giving up on him by any means. Hill had a good start. This was his deepest start, 6 innings. That was the deepest he went into a game so far this year.
Yeah. And again, locating those pitches, all of these young guys coming in, locating those pitches, but him stretching it out towards the end of the season. Obviously there's going to be, after this next week, some very, the opposite of stiff competition. So get the pitchers in a good spot, make sure they're feeling good coming in, but they should have a good stretch coming in, like towards the end of the season. The Yankees can't ask for a better opportunity to do what they need to do to get ready for the playoffs, to be honest.
Yeah, and so what we saw, like we said, we saw good starts out of your number 1 and number 2 pitchers, which was needed. I also thought the offense in Houston, while did fail in a couple big spots to score some runs, especially in that second game that they lost, they squandered opportunities. Think back to so many games against Houston over the past 6 years, and their starters just absolutely stifle the Yankees offense. Yeah. It's like 1-2-3, 1-2-3, kind of like what Gausman did to the Yankees on Friday. Yeah. And Gausman, he's not a bad pitcher, but he's not an elite pitcher. And the Yankees made him look like Greg Maddux on Friday. He had 64 pitches into like the 7th inning or something crazy. It was insane.
If the Yankees have a guy who's coming in and throwing strikes and has the ability to keep the ball down, that's a problem for the Yankees. A guy like Gausman who pitches well against the Yankees is like kryptonite because he's able to keep the ball down. He's able to do the opposite of what this Yankees team is able to do when they're good. And that's lift the ball, hit with power. A guy like Gausman coming in, throwing everything down in the zone and he's on. That's a problem for this team. And
but you saw
there's no reason they had an opportunity to even sweep the Houston series going into it, but Gosman was able to do it.
You could have argued you can argue they should have won that game.
You're up 7-4. You should be winning that game.
You blew that game in the middle innings in that game too, whatever it was, Tuesday or Wednesday. But they got to the Houston starters. Like they scored off of Javier, they scored off of Valdez, and they scored off of Alexander. All dominated the Yankees the last time they played them at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, and McMahon, I know we've been waiting for McMahon's bat to show up on that last game, 3 RBIs. And again, we've seen the glove and how evident.
Hand up, I've stunk. I got to be better.
Yeah. Hey, again, story killed. And then when you do well, everybody loves you because you worked hard to get out of it. You unburied yourself.
The thing with him though, like just don't suck and you're a productive player because you're so good defensively.
Yeah.
That if you're just okay offensively, you're going to hit 8th or 9th in the lineup anyway. You're adding value if you just aren't a complete zero.
He's a vacuum over at third base. So yes, you're right. He has such added value because of that. I've always said this, like, especially for a third baseman, you don't need a big hitting third baseman. If you have a vacuum over there, it's a huge difference. Obviously you want offense from a guy and McMahon has got some power, but he's going to be hovering around that 700 OPS. Like we're going to be staring at that for the next 2 years. And that's kind of where he's going to be. But I have that expectation. So for whatever reason, it makes it better for me in my brain.
Well, but so he's about a 700 OPS career hitter. I think it was like a 94 OPS plus hitter coming over, which is a little bit below league average. It's not great. Okay. It's not great. If he's around 100 OPS plus and playing elite defense, that's okay. That's what we thought Volpe was going to be. Like that's what Volpe kind of had been. Elite defense, you can make that argument whether he was elite in his first 2 years. All I know is Volpe wasn't making the same mistakes the last 2 years that he's made this year. 19 errors, leads the American League. Another throwing error over the weekend. And 3 strikeouts on Sunday. He's
even the errors, even some of the balls that are being saved by Rice and Goldschmidt over there on him, like he's throwing the ball in the dirt. He's just consistently short-arming the ball.
I think he's got the yips throwing the ball.
Yeah, this is how I felt I texted you last week that I played the worst 9 holes of my life in golf. Yeah. And the words Chuck Knobloch came out of my mouth a couple times because for whatever reason, I felt like I was the most disconnected from the club. Like, I don't even know if I'm holding this actually. It was awful. And that must be how he feels when he throws a ball.
Well, if you look
at the only explanation.
So the thing is, it's like that play in the hole that he made yesterday with the running throw. That was a play. Didn't have to think about it. He just had to rely on instincts to make it and sort of athletic ability. It's the balls where you see him hit kind of at him. He might back up on it. And then you can almost tell once he gets it in his glove, he's thinking, make a good throw, make a good throw, make a good throw. And then it's 3 feet short. And it's like, that's the worst place to be.
Yeah.
Not just as a hack golfer like us, but as a freaking professional athlete.
Totally in between. Completely in between. You don't know which way. Left is right, right is left. But I don't know. I mean, the guy's been playing shortstop for a very long time. It's not the same thing as swinging a golf club. Like, it's throwing a ball. He does this as a professional athlete. He's 22 years old. There's no reason why he shouldn't be able to make a throw.
Why did Chuck Knobloch get the yips? Why did Jose Altuve get the yips?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, this isn't the yips. It just happens way more frequently because in between he's throwing the ball with no issue. So yips are just like, your hand, you don't even have a hand.
Chuck Knobloch was like throwing it into the 5th row.
That was wild.
45 feet away.
That's exactly how I felt with the golf club the other day. Anthony Volpe, for whatever reason, you're right. I think his brain gets in his way a little. He trips over his own.
I don't know what it is.
Over his own thoughts, but he short arms the ball.
In my opinion, he is becoming unplayable for the playoffs.
I mean, I'm not saying because of the defense, man. It's really difficult when you look at the defense and what's happening right here. You can't just turn a blind eye to what's happening offensively, and you need one of those two. You need one of them.
I'm not saying this because I've been ragging on Volpe for 3 years, and I want him to be better. Blah blah blah. When he's leading the American League in errors, he's made multiple crucial back-breaking mistakes in the field that have cost the Yankees games this year. and his offense is a negative. It's not just a zero, it's a negative. What value is he bringing to you right now? Caballero is at least giving you something.
I'm gonna read the CC quote you put in here because it's I think it's timely. He's talking about after Volpe made another error, and so these are CC's comments about Volpe. He goes, "You know what's crazy? I think it's like people need to relax about the said. I just like, Miguel Andujar got ran out of here because we said he couldn't catch ground balls. I mean, that guy's still playing in the big leagues today. It's hard to develop young talent here just because of the demand, right? Like we're trying to win the World Series every year. You don't have time for guys to go through growing pains. I mean, I feel like Gary Sanchez could still do the catching for us if we had patience. If we were able to, like, if as a fan base, as a city, let these kids go through whatever they're going to go through. The game's hard to play, man. It's very difficult. Look, I appreciate CC on this. CC's going to have to, he's now the Hall of Fame CC with the Hall of Fame voice that's got to be there to support the guys at this point. What else would he be saying at this point? The difference between Miguel Andujar and Anthony Volpe is that Miguel Andujar could always hit. There was never a problem with the hitting, right? It was his defense that was hard to swallow for the majority of people. And when you see that time and time again, if you're hitting and your defense isn't there, like you can't lose games with the defense, right? You got to be like league average at that point. The problem with Volpe now is we were saying that about the defense to cover the offense, but now that the defense is back, below the Mendoza line as well, you're at a point here. You're like, okay, but something's got to give. We need to see improvement in some facet of the game here. It's not a short sample size. And I understand he's young.
Did fans run Miguel Andujar out of town, or
No.
did the Yankees see an opportunity when he injured his shoulder early in the 2019 season to never play him again? Because I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I'm pretty sure. Listen, I don't remember exactly what was happening in 2019. 2019 was 6 years ago. It might as well have been 60 years ago. I just said to you before we started recording, didn't I just say my life was very different 6 years ago? Okay.
Yes.
So I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure talking on the podcast, we wanted to see Miguel Andujar get another shot because he was a great offensive player. He hit 40 something doubles in his rookie year. Yep. We wanted to see him get another shot, whether it's at third base, left field, something. Find an avenue to try and get this guy's bat in the lineup.
Yeah.
So did fans get a little fed up with his defense? Sure, but I don't think we ran him out of town.
No, there was no running him out of town. The time ran him out of town because after he got injuries were unfortunate with his circumstances at the Yankees. I will say that, but he always could hit. And then when he had opportunities and short stints coming back, he just didn't hit in those stints either, and it made it look like it was a difficult situation for them.
And so, if anything, the Yankees organization made a decision: we don't want to give this guy a chance. That is not apples to apples with what Anthony Volpe has had the past 3 years. He's had every single opportunity. He's played almost as much as anyone in Major League Baseball for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here almost at the end of year 3, and he's like the worst player in baseball. So at a certain point, yeah, fans are going to get fed up. I think that's valid, especially because we were told this is your top prospect. This is the next guy. This is the next cornerstone shortstop of our organization.
And to CC's comments as well, and he knows better this. He knows this as well as anybody in what happened to him in New York as well. Hand up accountability.
Yeah.
You know what? I haven't been good. Some things have been happening in the off the field that aren't good for me as a baseball player too. CC did all of this stuff and like came back a hero when he overcame, very different situation, obviously. But the thing that we're not seeing with Volpe and even the people covering for Volpe is just like that accountability piece. Like I think there would be a very different narrative around here if he walked in front and said, you know what, like I have not been good enough, or the guys, he has not been good enough. They sat him for like a little bit of a stretch to at least take some pressure off of him. Yeah, I just don't think running him out there every single day when he's struggling like this is the right move either.
And let's also acknowledge that it annoys me, and I think it annoys a lot of people, that the Yankees organization doesn't just say we have confidence in Volpe. They try and tell us he's elite. Like,
yeah. They just go to like a completely other side of the stream here.
Yeah, like, okay, you want to just say we're backing this guy, we have confidence, we've seen it. Okay, fine. Like, I can't tell you otherwise. But for you to sit there and tell me the garbage I've been watching is actually filet mignon, is like, it's offensive.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. So while I see CC's point here, a bit, it's really just a company line is what he's doing. He's probably
Fine.
like, let's go, kid.
And he is a company man, but to your point, like Sabathia was nothing but accountable. He was nothing but a winner for the Yankees. So it's like, yeah, the fans will respond if you perform on the field, obviously. But even if you don't, if you just hold yourself accountable, like they kind of gave Stanton uh, a little bit of leeway when he was always accountable,
Yeah.
and injuries kept him off the field for the most part. But then it's like, okay, you get back on the field and you perform. It's like, well, you shut me up.
Yeah. 100%. So that's I mean, that is what we're looking at. The guy, obviously, you mentioned this whole thing started by you saying he's unplayable in the playoffs. So we'll see what that looks like. But you're
I
right.
think he is.
There are other options now. So when you see that the Yankees have two other guys at this point who can play shortstop and swing a bat, then there are options. So yeah, I mean,
if you're making a lineup for,
but again,
I know that, but I'm just saying, like I've used this analogy a million times. You drop an alien into the world and say, fill out the lineup card with the best available players from the Yankees roster. Volpe would not be in the starting 9.
Right. I know. Yeah. When you're looking at the numbers, it doesn't work. It doesn't jive. It doesn't belong.
It does not work. So I wrote down a bunch of takeaways from both series. We already talked about Fried. Obviously, the Yankees' ability to get to Houston starting pitching was really nice. Trent Grisham.
Man, this guy.
Trent Grisham.
I don't even know how to handle him anymore. What his deal is. Yeah.
2 massive home runs in the Houston series, the grand slam and also a 3-run home run late in that game on Thursday. To say he's having a career year is an understatement because he never had a full season prior to the season. And then in this first opportunity of a full season, he's got 3.5 WAR, an OPS in the mid 800s, and a 131 OPS plus. He's been 30% better than a league average player. Like, this isn't just a nice season. This is a great season.
The home run that he hit in Houston going the other way as well. It was complete back control. Like he almost looked like he peppered it down the line.
He has a very short compact.
He does have a short compact swing, and he's able to take that ball on the inside corner and put it into right field very well. But what he did again, like going the opposite way to that short porch and taking advantage of what Houston gave him, was to me one of the more impressive pieces of hitting that I've seen from him all year. And yeah, he's been unbelievable. He's basically put Dominguez on the bench full time at this point.
It's hard to argue with at this
point. It's very difficult to argue at this point because of the way he's playing. Obviously frustrating because I want to see Dominguez continue to develop, and I like him as a player, but we may just be looking at, look, next year's your year in left field, unless Grisham gets signed.
So Judge is back in the field. That's another good thing, but he can't throw.
Is it a good thing?
So that's a bad thing. But yeah, with the outfielders assuming, well, they're Judge is back in the field because they know any chance at winning in the playoffs, Stanton and Judge have to be in the same lineup every day.
Yeah, 100%. Like,
you can't not have those guys in the lineup. So that leaves 2 outfield spots. And sorry, Jason, you're the odd man looking out right now.
So, and this is what puts him in a really weird position towards the end of the season. And I know rosters will expand and they'll be able to, going into the playoffs, they'll be able to figure some things out, maybe with like pinch runners and such. But you can't play him in the field later. I mean, he's getting subbed out in the 6th inning in games for
Dominguez, you mean? Yeah.
Dominguez. So where's his value on the roster in the playoffs at that point? I mean,
pinch hitter, maybe or something.
Pinch hitter, possibly, definitely a pinch runner, but that's it. He's a one at-bat guy, really, or a one opportunity guy, because you're not going to leave him in the game at late in the game if it's close.
Well, here's a very interesting scenario. You've got a 1-run lead in the 9th inning. Judge is not scheduled to come up next inning. Are you pulling Judge for defense? Because he can't throw. Like, that is a liability. There was a medium deep fly ball yesterday that the Blue Jays tagged up on, and Judge soft tossed it into the infield.
Into the cutoff. Yeah.
That he can't throw. So if you're in a tight game, Judge in the outfield is actually a liability.
If he's not going to be able to unleash that arm, then
yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah. If that is the case, if that's what he's doing, I don't know if this is like their way to ease him in or what. They always do stupid stuff like this. I feel like getting back to the point, getting back to like the full playing, like, okay, you're gonna toss it in a few times, even though, and he's probably throwing long toss in the game or before the game, and has the ability to do it. They're just gonna put
That's
they're just gonna
ridiculous.
put a regulator on him for a little while. I don't know what his full capabilities are, and I don't know if this is like their way of getting him back so that during the playoffs he's able to open it up and throw as hard as he wants. I don't know. But how do you look at that though? But you're right, because at the end of the game, if you have a guy like Dominguez on the bench, are you going to sub him in? You're not subbing him in for defense.
Well, okay, but in the scenario where Aaron Judge can't throw the ball, Jason Dominguez is a better outfielder because at least he can throw the ball.
Maybe some would argue that Judge could catch the ball better than Dominguez, and
he can catch the ball. Yes,
yeah.
he can catch the ball better.
Yeah.
But if you're in a one-run game, the ball's hit to right field, the other team is just going to keep running.
It's true. You got to get the ball in. Yeah.
Like you can't have
that. You also
you know?
can't have a known quantity. You can't know that as well.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a huge liability.
I mean, again, if he's out there in the playoffs and he's not able to throw, I don't know. I just feel like this is like their way of ramping up, which is dumb, but it's the case.
Yeah. Well, he can get fly ball work. He can run pregame. Like this is whatever. Yeah, you're right though. They do stupid things, and then they say stupid things like we're coming up with creative cutoffs for Judge.
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna run trick plays for the cutoff. The Jeter flip play is actually in the playbook now.
They're gonna run a wheel route.
Yeah. Gonna make sure if Volpe doesn't hit his mark on his on his pattern.
They think they're so smart. Yeah. Don't they just sit around a room and just patting themselves on the back with how smart they are for coming up with these things?
Look, man, going back to the bullpen real quick too. The bullpen is something that obviously they need to figure out, and I don't know what that means. Is there an order that Boone feels comfortable with going into the playoffs? Is it just like from the 7th inning on, it's a number of 4 to 5 guys that will go in at any given point? I don't know where the consistency is or where he's going to live. But what we have seen over the weekend and into now, and I think this is one of the reasons why Devin Williams came into the game, was because Cruz had pitched 3 out of the past 4 nights, and it seems like he's liking the lane of the 8th inning for Fernando Cruz, going into the end of the season.
Weaver had not pitched twice in a row.
Yes, but Weaver also had been struggling as well.
Yeah.
So that's an easy thing to say.
Williams did not allow a run in yesterday's outing, but it was not comfortable.
No, it wasn't. It's never been comfortable. And he blew the game over the weekend, basically.
So, like, I'm sorry, you cannot have Williams pitching in a high leverage playoff game. Can't. He doesn't throw strikes. He doesn't throw strikes. Like,
I know it's a problem. Obviously, a problem, especially against a team that's patient and will go out there and wait. They will not sit on the changeup.
If I was the opposing manager, I would literally fine my players for swinging the bat against Devin Williams.
Yeah.
Because he will throw 4 balls before he throws 3 strikes. Even the pitches, if you go look at the pitches that the Blue Jays were swinging at, those were not strikes.
Honestly, my game plan with him, even if he's able to locate that changeup where he wants to, like he's been going to the fastball in odd counts lately. I would just sit fastball and just spit on the changeup every single time. Because you're right. It's either going to be low. You're not going to hit it. Just wait for the fastball to come. That's what I would be doing.
Yeah. You'll find yourself in a 2-0 count or a 3-1 count. And then if you want to sit fastball, fine. But you should not be swinging the bat until he throws you a strike.
I watching Fernando Cruz pitch this weekend, though, especially that game at Houston where he just gets completely lit up or fired up and the veins are popping from his, every orifice above his shoulder. It's pretty nice to see. You got to love to see that passion. And when he's on and his breaking stuff is just wipe away, he's really effective. So I do like him going forward as like, a 7th, 8th inning shutdown type guy. Because he's got that ability.
Well, we interrupted about the Trent Grisham thing, but first, the MLB playoffs just around the corner, and we hope the Yankees will have some home games in October. We'll talk about that in a second. If you're gearing up for playoff tickets or want to go to one of these last regular season games, look no further than the Game Time app. I've used the Game Time app several times and I absolutely love it. I've used it for baseball games and I've used it for theater tickets, but they also have great tickets for all sporting events, concerts, and more. The last minute deal feature is especially cool because you can snag great tickets for affordable prices by just waiting. You can save up to 60%. I also love the all-in pricing feature because you toggle this on and then you're not hit with those surprise fees at checkout. It tells you what the total price is going to be up front. Last but not least, the lowest price guarantee means you will, if you find tickets in the same section and row for less somewhere else, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account and use code Bronx for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Once again, create an account, redeem code BRONX for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you to Game Time. Well, how much money is Trent Grisham going to get in the offseason? Jeff Passan put out his early free agent rankings, basically. Trent Grisham not mentioned in the article. He ranked Cody Bellinger 6th. What he said about Cody Bellinger was at 30, Bellinger will be one of the best bats on the market when he turns down his $25 million player option, which includes a $5 million buyout. He's on pace to put up his most home runs and RBI since his 2019 MVP campaign and will seek 9 figures this winter. He will opt out, but he does not mention Trent Grisham, who, yes, first season we've ever seen this from Trent Grisham, first season he's been playing, but like I just said, 130 OPS plus, 3.5 WAR. He's going to be 29 years old. He's going to get something.
It puts him right there. And he plays a lot. It's not like he's an injury guy. This is like you said,
played through being banged up this year.
Yeah, he has. And he had an opportunity. I know he had a more at bats when he was in San Diego, but this is the first time you're seeing full-time at bats basically from him. And he's putting it up. So yeah, I mean, obviously I think his history is going to play against him for a contract.
Yeah.
But
okay, but at the start of the season, he was looking at a 1-year, $5 to $6 million deal as a fourth outfielder from.
And so, do you think it puts him into now the 3-year option type deal, or
I think
a 3-year guarantee?
Yes, I think definitely. I think his agent would be a bad agent if he doesn't get at least 3 years and 15 million per. So a comp that I don't think is entirely fair, but Andrew Benintendi a couple years ago got 5 years and $75 million from the White Sox. Andrew Benintendi, much longer history than Trent Grisham, but never put up numbers close to this. So if I am Trent Grisham's agent, I am saying Benintendi got 5 and 75. We understand that he had more history, but we got to get 60% of that contract.
I mean, I think there's an opportunity. Depending on where teams are and if they're in on some of these other players, there's an opportunity to use the market in your favor as well. Yeah. So that Benintendi contract's probably not going to be that far off, to be honest. And if you're a team looking at and seeing what the pop, he's always had, that ability to hit the ball out. It just hasn't had the full opportunity. They all know what he is as a glove. I mean, I could see him being one of those guys that is just holding out and holding out and holding out and holding out and holding out, and then has to sign a deal come up in the spring training because he's not getting exactly what he wants. I could see him as being one of those guys.
I don't think he's going to get a qualifying offer from the Yankees. And if he did get the qualifying offer, I could see him taking it because I think him on the market with a draft pick penalty associated with him would kill his value. But the qualifying offer would be about $21 million. Like I said, I don't expect the Yankees to give that to him. But
I don't think he would take it either, though. If you don't take advantage after this year,
no, because so here's the thing: if he turns down that qualifying offer, whoever signs him has to give up draft picks in addition to the money for signing him. Yeah, and I think that would be too much going against him because this is only 1 year. And so he could look at it well, I'm going to bank 21 million. I'm going to bank on myself, and then go at it again next year. But I don't think that's going to be in play. I still think he's going to ask for a minimum of 3 and 45. I see that as a bare minimum, 15 million per for 3 years.
Yeah. I think he's going to get it, to be honest.
I think he will get that too.
I think he's going to get it.
Would you give it to him if you're the Yankees?
No, not if the Yankees have a different situation. I don't see how I don't see how you could give him that, given the existing makeup of the roster.
Well,
I
what
don't
if
I don't see how
Bellinger
you
walks and goes signs a $200 million contract somewhere else? Because Cody Bellinger's putting up a great year as well, and he's won an MVP in the past, and he was a much more highly touted prospect. He's going to get paid.
Yeah. So where are you spending your money between those two? I want Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, I would
I
rather.
appreciate what Grisham has done, but I do think that there's nothing for me to see that this is an every year thing. I don't know. I can't
Oh,
I
I
can't buy it. And I feel like I'm scarred from guys like Aaron Hicks and pieces like that who you see like a little bit of a pop from, and you're like, oh, this guy could be something. This guy
okay.
could be. This guy
Aaron
could
Hicks
be.
never did this though.
I know,
Aaron
this
Hicks
is what
never
we were
did
looking
this.
for Aaron Hicks to be. And then you're okay with the deal, the bargain that you got over a long period
Good
of time.
value. Yeah, no, F that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trent Grisham, for the season. I hope you go get your money somewhere else. I prefer to sign obviously Cody Bellinger, also because what are they doing at first base next year? Like Cody Bellinger could be an option at first base as well.
100%. He's got that flexibility everywhere. I love him as a baseball player right now. I think he's been better than advertised.
So you want to second guess Boone on a decision in the second game in Houston to pull Warren after 67 pitches?
Well, do you have a bigger problem with him actually pulling him or him going out there to start the inning?
I have a problem with how the entire thing is handled with Aaron Boone. It's that, okay, Warren got through 5 innings at like 60 something pitches. Highly efficient. He had been cruising. Boone sent him out there for the 6th, basically with the caveat, one mistake and you're out of this game. That is a horrible way to manage, a horrible message to send to a player, a no-win situation to put a young pitcher in. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You can almost excuse it for a veteran pitcher if you send Max Fried out there for the 8th inning at 97 pitches and it's like, Max is maybe fine. It's Max Fried. But Warren, you're sending out there with like one mistake and you're gone. And he did. He made a mistake. He gave up a home run. Like that's as bad of a mistake as you can make. But like he'd been pitching so great. And then you put yourself in a situation where Cruz, Weaver, Williams melt down for 6 runs in 2+ innings, and that's the game right there. I have hated for years how Boone manages these situations in the middle innings, trying to either steal outs or one mistake and you're gone. A reliever comes in a messy inning. It's just a terrible way to manage. It's never worked, and it never will work.
A guy like Warren, I see both sides in the fact that like when Warren has gone deeper into games and gotten into trouble, he's gotten into trouble in a lot of his outings towards the end. He gets in the hurt in the beginning, usually right off the jump, and then he pitches well for like 4 innings, and then he gets in trouble again third time around. But when you're at 67 pitches, he had been. I thought he'd been pitching the ball, throwing the ball well. I'm more inclined to give him the rest of that inning, to be honest. Knowing how you need to let the bullpen breathe a little bit, it cannot be used on an every single day basis and relied on that heavily. When you have a starting pitcher that's as manageable with pitch count as you had with him at 67, you got to keep running him.
Yeah, I think on the surface of it, Warren doesn't deserve the leash, but at the same time, use your eyes. What has this game been telling you? How have the at-bats looked against him? The at-bats, he looked great. So it's like, I just think everything is predetermined going into the game and not enough of in-game. Boone doesn't have an in-game feel. He doesn't use his eyes to tell him what to do. And then, like I said, I think it's a losing situation to send him back out there with the caveat of one mistake and you're out of here.
The one thing I'll say about Boone, I think in that opportunity was that, I guess the laws of probability will tell you that something's going to happen in the bullpen, but obviously you can't expect the bullpen to melt down like that. When you win the first game of that series, and then you're trying to secure that next game and don't want to put Warren in a situation to blow it. He's pitched well. You're going to go to your guys and try to close this game out because it's a game that they should have closed out. And now you're up. You won the series. You're going into a little less pressure on Sunday. I understand like the need and the want to put a stranglehold on the game. But again, like it goes back to saying like, who's the best pitcher for this situation right now? And at that point, you could let the narrative take over and saying, I don't want the young pitcher to give up this lead, or the young pitcher's going well. He just gave up a mistake. Let's keep going with him. boost his confidence. And now we have the back of the bullpen, even more fresh for a game tomorrow.
It was so they had the off day last Monday, right? So they were in the stretch. They were in the 6-game stretch. That was game 2 of the 6-game stretch. So you knew your bullpen was going to be taxed over this 6 games. You got the big win in the first game against Houston, where you didn't really have to use your high leverage guys because you got a blowout win. So I guess Boone was saying like, well, here's an opportunity to
yeah.
So
I do understand what you're saying, but
what are you deploying? You're not deploying something that's like a short thing. You're deploying also kind of a roll of the dice.
Understood. But at the same time, that inning with Warren, like having just a quick hook with him with 67 pitches, to me doesn't make a lot of sense going into that inning.
No,
like he's pitched well enough to give up a solo home run to be able to continue to work through that inning.
Yep. Or don't send him out.
And he looked good enough to me. He looked good.
So can we agree? Either let him pitch through it or don't send him out there.
Yeah. Well, I think you're sending him out there, but you're letting him work through it to a certain extent. Yes.
Yeah. So a couple other things from the Toronto series. Crazy stat that Max Scherzer hasn't won a game at Yankee Stadium since like 2011 playoffs, which is nuts. Also, he was tipping pitches. The Ben Rice home run in the first inning was a tip. Apparently, the signals were relayed around the infield, and Judge gave him the signal. How have the Yankees this is like the 4th time this year that they've been
able to pick up?
Yeah,
I don't know. Their nerds are apparently very good at deciphering signs.
The Red Sox have also been accused. So the Yankees, I wouldn't say they've been accused of doing anything wrong, because every time it happens, the other teams just basically like, yeah, we got to be better about not tipping our pitches. The Red Sox have been accused of stealing signs. There's a fine line. It's a gray area.
They were talking about this on I think it was Friday night, I think it was the Apple game, because the Apple game had a very different camera angle. It was like over
6.325964% probability that this pitch is a ball.
Yeah. But I'm saying just the camera angle. It was over the left shoulder of the pitcher, and usually you're on the right shoulder of the pitcher. So it was like it was just different, and different broadcasts had a different angle. And the guys on the broadcast, God bless their hearts, said this, and no one said anything. Really, really, in Houston, what we need is like a camera down center field so that we could get a better angle. And I'm like, boys, there's a reason why that camera's not there. You know what I'm saying? There was a red light on that camera. There's a reason why that camera's not there. So yeah, the angle's a little different in Houston. I'll take it. I'll play with the weird angle in Houston.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, that wouldn't have been Friday. That would have been Thursday.
Thursday then, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe it was another game. I forget who had that Thursday game. Someone else had that game, I thought.
With MLB Network?
I don't remember. They're all over the place now. So
I don't know. The Yankees have been really good at picking up tipped pitches so far this year. It's crazy. All right. So the standings. Here we are. The Yankees are 2 back of Toronto. Technically, it's 3 back because Toronto has the tiebreaker. So you cannot end in a tie with Toronto. You will not win the division if you end with the same record as the Blue Jays. So you need to make up 3 games if you want to win the division. That win yesterday was key to the Yankees staying alive in the division race. If you fall back 3 games with 4 needed to make up at this point, I think it would have been too much. But with 2 games back, 3 games needed to make up, there's a world where Toronto goes 10-9 in their last 19, and the Yankees go 13-6. The Yankees play garbage. That does it. That's how you get there. 10-9 from the Blue Jays, 13-6 from the Yankees.
The Blue Jays have a 3-game set against Houston coming up at home, then Baltimore at home. Then they're on the road 4 in Tampa, which is a bandbox, as we know, because it's actually George Steinbrenner. And then 3 against KC, and then they're back home to finish the season with 3 against Boston and 3 against Tampa. So the Yankees have a much easier schedule, no doubt about it, down the stretch after this next week, because the Blue Jays play Boston. Like I think at the end of the day, that's the big series you're looking at. And Tampa can steal a few games from you. Kansas City obviously is still kind of in the mix, but it's not that much harder, but it is harder.
So it's a little bit harder, but I'm not even it's at least not in a scenario where it's like, well, they have to go under 500. It's like, well, you can't project a team that's currently, 82 and 61 to go under 500 the rest of the way. So they're going to go, if they go 10-9, Yankees go. So it's not easy, because if the Blue Jays win 11 games, and the Yankees have to go 14-5. And it's
Yeah.
like, even against some bad teams, you're looking, that's kind of a steep climb. But
And obviously the rest of the week, the Yankees still have three against Detroit at home, and then
Right.
they're up in Boston for
At
3
Boston.
games.
And that game, those 3 games in Boston will tell, I think, are the biggest 3 games of the season, because they will dictate where the wild card series is. It looks like the Yankees will play the Red Sox.
You're saying, assuming the Yankees don't overtake the division.
I think it's a little bit too much of a steep climb for the Yankees, because
the Yankees can reel
yes,
off
they
8 to 9 wins in that last stretch.
Okay, so I'm saying they go 13-6.
Yeah.
That's what that means. That's what that is.
So. Yeah.
So
it's when you're looking at where they are, I guess, after this week, if they're within 2 games after this week, I think they have to just stay within this week. I think they have to stay within the 3 games, 2 to 3 games. If they do that, then they have an opportunity, because there's going to be a lot more pressure on them.
Sure. If the Yankees go 15-3, then okay, fine. Or that would be 15-4. If they go 16-3, then yeah, they'll win. But like, I still think even at 13-6, the Blue Jays, I think, would get it. That's why I say, you've got this Detroit series coming up, and then you've got 3 at Boston. You can't have the tiebreaker against Boston. Also, you've lost too many games against Boston. So that's another thing working against the Yankees here, is they don't have the tiebreaker against either the Blue Jays or the Red Sox.
Yeah.
So the Yankees need to remain 1 game better than Boston in order to host the wild card series. That's why I think this weekend series is going to decide it, because I mean, Boston is going into that being like, we need to take 2 out of 3 from the Yankees. That makes up the game. That means they're tied, but really the Red Sox are a game ahead. And then the Red Sox control their own destiny in that scenario.
Yeah.
If the Yankees take 2 out of 3, the Yankees control their own destiny in that scenario. That's why I think this is the series.
And playing at Fenway Park is obviously a much more difficult task when you're playing that team at Fenway Park.
You cannot go into a wild card series 3 at Fenway. You can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Not against those 2 pitchers that have been shut down.
They annihilate the ball at Fenway Park.
Yes.
They score like 7 runs a game at Fenway Park. The Red Sox do.
Yeah. So no, you're right. This is a huge stretch, obviously, with Detroit, but the Boston series is going to be very possibly telling toward the end of the season.
Boston's down. Roman Anthony's out for the rest of the regular season, most likely. He might be back at the very end of the regular season. Crochet has struggled a bit. They called up, drawing a blank on that rookie pitcher's name. He looks pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. He looks like he's a Boston Red Sox too. He just looks dirty. You know what I'm saying? Like he hasn't bathed in a while.
Yeah. Well, now the Yankees look like that too with all that.
True. It's got to be manicured though, right? It's got to, what is it?
Yeah, like
well maintained,
well kept, or whatever. Yeah. Well,
all right. Halfway through, man. Halfway through this run, and they're playing well. So
here's the thing. I don't know if you can tell it in my voice. I actually okay, you've given me a chance at a baseball season now. Because if they were the flip side, 2-4, still booting the ball around against these teams, like, well, what are we doing here? And that's not what happened. So it's at least been representative baseball.
Still booting the ball around a little bit.
A little bit. The bar was low, though.
A little bit. Yeah.
The bar was low.
We've gotten still a good amount of errors that absolutely need to be cleaned up.
Anthony Volpe. Get him off the field.
And Rice, too. I mean, Rice at first base also.
Rice can't play first base. I said this last week.
Can't have Ben Rice at first.
Ben Rice is a better catcher than
Goldschmidt's bat in the lineup.
Okay, how about Bellinger at first base?
Hey.
Trent Grisham in center field. Jace Dominguez in left field.
Hey.
And then whoever's playing right field that day.
There you go. Ben Rice. I could see that in the playoffs. Just a random Ben Rice in right field day.
Yankees, Red Sox.
They saw something. They saw something. You know, he's got a little advantage in the numbers. They saw something.
Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think we're good, man. This is a big one. I'm glad we are where we are right now, and they have the opportunity to take this next week and really take a stranglehold of the wild card at this point.
Yep. You can control your own destiny if you just take care of these next 6 games. Not saying you have to go 5-1 in these next 6 games. Just play okay, and then you'll control your own destiny, which is a big thing. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in on the live broadcast on YouTube and for listening on whatever podcast app you choose. Thank you to Game Time for sponsoring us today. We'll talk to you again next Monday.
See you guys.